Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to the Ultimate World Championships preview show. I'm your host, Dwayne, and I'm here to break down the World Championships. It's time for this thing to get started. We're 8 days away? Official entries confirm over 2,100 athletes from 202 teams. They're set to grace the track, the field, and Hungary, with its brand new athletic center, will host what I hope will be one of the great world championships. We are excited for this. If you're a newcomer, if you're a seasoned professional, the Hungarian capital, I believe, will be unmatched this year. We'll see a lot of athleticism, determination from the athletes. There are those there to deliver on their legacy. Some will try to defy historical records. Others will just try to make a name for them in the sport we call track and field. And you'll get the odd upsets, which makes the sport really exciting. So if you're an avid track and field enthusiast rather like me, then this is undeniably the pinnacle of the year. It's the greatest show on earth when it comes to the World Championships or the Olympic Games. But whenever national teams assemble, we expect to see something. And I believe that it's important for us to cover every event. Yes, every single one. And while some events may captivate others, every athlete stepping on the track today, in 8 days, I believe it represents a culmination of relentless training and dedication. And for me, track and field encapsulate the full spectrum of athletic prowess. We get speed, power, endurance, explosivity, and much more. And so from August 19th to the 27th, you don't want to miss anything. And I'll be here to cover it. And let's engage. Let's start with a preview. Please chime in, challenge my predictions. And most importantly, let's have some excitement. Let's revel in this excitement as we engage. I want to thank you for joining me, and I'm definitely going to keep you in the conversation tonight. Thanks, everyone. And I see All in the Game is here. I see Imran. Appreciate you guys for joining me. What a day for track and field news All in the Game has right here, and I agree with you. Before we get started with the preview show, we need to address some important things that happened today. Two notable late withdrawals from the World Championships. We'll start with Jakob from Uganda, a likely medalist for me, potentially was a medalist for me in the 10,000 meters. Word coming out of Uganda, an official press release today suggested that he suffered a hamstring injury, the right hamstring. And so Kiplimo won't be at this World Championships. It's a sad state of affairs, but these things happen. I wish him a very speedy recovery, and hopefully he'll be back on the track very soon. And if that news was shocking to many, the news that's probably the most shocking today is the news of Sidney Mclaughlin, the world record holder over 400-meter hurdles, who have now switched this season to the 400 meters. She will not be at this year's World Championships. And she put out a statement today, and I'll read part of it. And it says, after consulting with my doctors and coaches, I need to take care of a minor knee issue so that I can be fully healthy for next year's Paris Olympics. So she posted this on social media, and she also said she looks forward to seeing everyone back on the track soon. I don't know what to say. I do hope that she gets the necessary medical attention she needs. Sidney hardly races, as you know. We hardly see her on the track. And so clearly maybe something is off. And so let's hope she gets that support she needs. And I really, at a stage where you really want athletes to be at their very best. The sport needs it. You need your top athletes at your major events and to deliver top performances. And without Sidney, we have to be honest with ourselves. This is one of the top athletes that we're going to be missing this year. Also, it brings us to the question of Athing Mu. I think All in the Game just put that, how long until she officially pulls out? I don't know. This is last week we saw that statement, or early, was it last week we saw that statement from Bobby Kersey? There was an article in the LA Times talking about, it was about 2 weeks to go, and what they wanted to do is to think about whether they'll continue training for sure, and then make a decision of whether she would go on vacation or go to the World Championships. Again, there's no indication that she's suffering from anything major. I've said it before, when it comes to Athing Mu, I think she could not be at her very best and still find her way on top of that podium. And everything that we saw from Athing this season, PB in the 1500 meters, a fantastic time as well, over 400 meters, gave us an indication, if you follow the sport well, that she was in fairly good nick. So managing whatever training, new structure she's under, you have to adjust to that. But she didn't look like it was an off year for her. I mean, we don't have all the details. Not quite sure what's happening. And I don't know if I should link Sidney and Athing together. The only thing that's linking them is the fact that they're both coached by Bobby Kersey. I don't know what role he's playing in this. Don't want to speculate too much. I've heard some things, but there's no confirmation there. And so I hope she turns up at the World Championships, because that again is another big name, a generational talent. So we'll see. And so those are some very big that Kip Lima rather not showing up. I'm saddened by that. The same now for Sidney Mclaughlin. We hardly get to see Sidney Mclaughlin. I have to say that. And I know athletes aren't machines, but she's a world-class athlete, and we haven't seen her in a long time. And I was really expecting to see her perform very well. Thanks everyone for joining me. And so the other kind of disappointing stuff that we've been seeing this week, and today in particular, that we should talk about, is that there's been a bunch of athletes that have been provisionally suspended by the AIU, the Athletic Integrity Unit. And of course, we anticipate some of this were coming. A lot of expedited tests are happening, partly because we have a major championship this year. You want to make sure that the full contingent of athletes on display are ones that are clean, and that's what's happening. And we can name a bunch of Kenyans that have been caught up. I mean, Kenya this year, I don't know what's going on in Kenya, or Kenya-related athletes, but last time I checked it, the numbers are astronomical. So something needs to be done there. And I won't spend time discussing all of this doping violation, but the one that I really want to talk about, and I think the one that is a bit of a frenzy, is of particular note, is the 18-year-old promising sprinter that represents Suriname, Issam Asingla. Now, he's been provisionally suspended by the AIU for a prohibited substance. And if you were on social media today, you would have seen that it was GW 1516. And there are different names that particular substance goes by. But particularly what we think it does, if it's in fact the substance that's in the system, he's asked for his B sample to be tested, is that it helps with muscle mass. It helps to burn maybe a little extra fat that you have, and potentially there's connections to it being something that can impact physical performance. And it's not something that you should have in your system at all. There's no leeway in the sport for this particular drug or substance. You cannot get an exemption for it, a therapeutics exemption. And the athlete in question posted something on his social media as well, and indicating that it's been tested a number of times since he entered into the testing pool because of his elite status, and tested after the just concluded South American Championships, right, in which he performed very well as well. And I don't know, but we have to see. But he's one that's going to definitely miss the World Championships. I suspect if he doesn't clear his name, then he will likely lose all of those stellar performances this year, particularly the World Under-20 record. But it's a very sad thing to see. And he's 18 years of age. So it begs me, I have a lot of questions when it comes to an 18-year-old on substance. It could be that he took some supplement that was contaminated. It's possible. I don't know. We'll have to wait for the facts, but it's certainly not something that you anticipate seeing this early. And it's not something that you would anticipate an 18-year-old athlete to really knowingly know and put in their system. Thanks everyone for joining me. Let me get to a couple of these comments and questions on the live before I get into some of my predictions for this evening. Right now I see I've already addressed that one from All in the Game. Imran, yeah, I have to do a live for you tomorrow. I think here's St. Clay saying, I think Moose should have focused on the 400 meter and the longer distance are very competitive and is totally taking a toll on our body. Interesting that you would say that. I have to be very careful how I think about this. So what we don't know is the state Bobby Kersey got, I think, after her time at university. So she participated a lot there. But I'm not quite sure. Given her age, I don't know what kind of toll it's taken, right? Maybe there's things there that they won't divulge. But you would anticipate, especially she's run sparingly this year, and the times at which she put up over 15 and 4 suggest that I think she's in good nick. I don't know. I mean, there's no other way to think about it. I mean, other than speaking directly to them and them telling us what's going on, and I don't think we'll ever get that kind of story. So we'll see. Yeah. Rightly so, yes. All in the Game. The same was happened for Amos. Missed that. Yeah, it's that's what I was saying. Why is he on supplements anyhow, right? And let's be clear, a lot of athletes use supplements, and what people now do with supplements to make sure there's no contamination is that you have to go through an approved lab, an approved approved manufacturer that comes from the World Athletics. So if you get something and you unknowingly put it in your system, but it was contaminated, you will not be charged once they can test the same substance and realize there's a match there if it comes exactly from a certified manufacturer that is connected to World Athletics, or in this case, many times it's the individual associations that have this thing there. So that way you can take your supplement and not worry that it might have been contaminated. But yeah, I really don't know why this is happening. It strikes me as very too young. It also tells me some things about his future, in the sense that if he's already doing things that maybe older athletes would be doing, then there's a ceiling already that we could think about, and it's not a wild imagination of like this guy's gonna run up and run 9.5, right? I don't, not that I thought that's possible or there's nothing there. So yeah, we'll see. It's good to see you, Britannia. It's a very, very long time. Maybe you've been around and just have on the last few lives, but never got a chance to talk about. I have a prediction for the relay, but I didn't really address this. So I can talk about it really quickly in my prediction. Do you think it's in Elaine's best interest to run the relay? So last week I mentioned it depends on where Elaine is, right? So if she was healthy going into the Jamaica National Championships, meaning that by that time, the week before, 2 weeks before, she had run an individual event, then she gets into the championship. But just because she's been missing because of her injuries and not quite where she needed to be, but if she's healthy and continue to train and hope to make something else for the remainder of the season by getting on a couple more continental tours, Diamond League, then she might be in good nick. If what they did was to try to get her to just compete given the injuries, then maybe not. Then maybe it's time to shut it down and focus on next season. But if she was cleared in a sense to the level where she she could resume proper training and get herself up to 11.2 or whatever she was at, or 11.1. Then if she's continuing to put in the work to move her along the way, then possibly I think it could work. But it just depends on where she is. If she's unhealthy and need time, then no. If she is back and all she has is deficiencies because she missed training, then yes. Then yes, she should be on it, let's see. We're touching on a few things. You're right here. What told she hasn't run any races? I agree with that number 100%. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. Smash that so other people know that we're here. Thanks. Yeah, I'm doing well. Just excited for the World Championships. Hopefully get through some of my predictions for tonight. If she messes up on her leg, they will crucify. I suspect that might be the case. I think an athlete like that is not without scrutiny. I don't know, right? We'll see. Look, you hope that if she's there, part of a good reason for her to be there too is because of her experience, or maybe she may not. I hope that a person like Elaine can hold her hand up and say, look, I'm not up to it, so someone else should run. If that's the case, I'm not feeling well, then someone else should do it. But having her there too potentially could be good. She's been part of a number of successful Jamaican relay teams in terms of winning and medaling in the past. So I suspect that will be the case. I also do agree with All in the Game here. I wouldn't have taken her based on that. Kivona's, I agree, she ran extremely well this year as well. For Texas and a number of successful teams that broke records. But then people might make that also counter argument about long season and rest. And although I think this year in particular is somewhat different because the distance between the end of the collegiate season and the World Championships is wide enough if an athlete has been managed properly by a coach who has their interest at heart for the national stage and the international stage, then they would be able to get them back in somewhat of a good nick. So we'll see. All right. Yeah, we all want her to do her best. I echo those sentiments. So thanks everyone for joining me. And what we're here for is for us to talk about the World Championships and some of my predictions, which I struggle with, I'll be honest with you. But I did predict every single event at the World Championship. Some I'll spend more time talking about. Others I will possibly just run through. Or if we're on here for a long time, then we do another show. You let me know. I'm happy to come back as often as you want. So now, without further ado, let's dive into the most anticipated event at the World Championships. I'm going to start off with the Blue Ribbon event. Many of you are eagerly waiting for this, and most people in the sport. This is the kind of event that transcends the sport. And let's see, we'll talk about the 100 meters. And I'm going to start with the men's 100 meters. Here's my little spiel on it. Ever since Bolt, predicting a certain winner has become unpredictable. It's corny, but this is how I think. And so my question is Fred Kerley, with his consistent performance on the medal podium, being the defending champion, also medaling at the Olympics in Tokyo, is he the favorite? That's one question I have here. It's very difficult to think through all of this. But given the kind of tight races that we've been seeing this year, a number of athletes clocking in the 9.9 range, a few of them in the 9.8, I suspect that athletes will need to be in the mid to low 9.8s to distinguish themselves. And what might happen, and I'm not certain about this, but this is where I'm thinking. We're going to end up in a situation where a lot of athletes will run their best in the semifinal just to get into this final, unless they've all been preparing in some magnificent way and we don't know, right? So I won't be surprised if some of their best times emerge in the semifinal. So there's a question about Fred. There's Zarnell Hughes. He has the season's fastest time. But can he deliver this on this main stage, right? He looks very good this year. What about Ferdinand Omanyala? Capable of running fast times, but most of those times are with the aid of altitude. So can he come down and deliver? What about Akini Sambini? Will he deliver something here? We're now missing the US national champion. We're missing Dadzi from Ghana. So those are some interesting people. And I feel bad for the kid from the United States. I don't know all the details. From what I've heard, it happened during maybe a relay practice. So that's tough, especially if it's happened on the grounds of how we heard it. So we'll see. What about Oblique Seville? So he hasn't progressed as expected this season, particularly when we compare him to Zarnell. And injuries might be the reason for this. But, you know, Oblique broke on the scene, was in the semifinals at the Tokyo Games. Then he gets into the World Championship and just misses out on a medal. So where does he factor? Does he factor at all? Then there are questions around Letsile Tebogo. Will he be a key person here? He's super talented. If he gets it right, he could cause a major upset. But maybe his thing is more in the 200 meters. We'll see. And then there's Noah Lyles. We can't not talk about Noah Lyles because he possesses this kind of steely determination to push his way up there. And I think Noah won't be running without an anticipation of trying to get on that. This might be a tough year for him too when it comes to his defense of the 200 meters. Maybe he has to work a little bit harder, but we'll get to the 200 meters in a second. And then I have questions about this new kid on the block, this emerging guy from Jamaica, Watson. Can he be the dark horse? You know, can Watson be the dark horse? He's unknown at the global level, but could he spring a surprise? And so I've been pondering for a while. You know, I may be going around corners here. A lot of you are might be thinking, "Come, get on with it." And you know, after weeks, I'm still undecided. But if I had to choose, and I'm gonna go with safe picks, I would probably say Fred followed by Zarnell. So Fred Curley, then Zarnell, and this might be a shocker. Somehow I have a funny feeling Watson might sneak up there. So it could be a Watson, Tebogo, Seville, Lyles blanket finish for a bronze medal. So that's where I'm probably going to end up there. I don't know if you agree with that. Somehow I feel like Fred can be upset. He just doesn't look the way I want him to look, but Fred is a champion guy. He delivers, he gets done. Let's get to some of your comments and on the live before I move on to our next one. And so, a lot of things going on here. Yeah, the U.S. champion is out. Yeah, I mentioned that. Let's see what's going on. Okay, there's a little bit of a discussion between All in the Game and Britannia about Dennis Mitchell. Oof, don't want to even get into that. She loves Sambini. Simbili has made every final since 16, finishing 4th, 5th every time. Correct. Is it his time All in the Game? Can he get there, right? If you know, I think you mean Tebogo or Noah gets it right, it would be problems. Yeah. Fred is safe, but Zarnell is the best bet value according to the betting odds. I see you have that money out there, All in the Game. You got to share some of that with me. I definitely think Zarnell can do something. He has a different determination this year, I suspect. And also that 200 meters made me feel like, you know, and the conditions weren't that great when he dropped that. Was it 1975? I can't remember. So, or did he do that at another time? But anyway, I think Zarnell is good money. And I'm Jamaican, but I don't expect any medals. Yeah, at first I was thinking about that too, but I just wonder if Watson could do something. And I just wanted to switch it up a little bit. And thanks for saying that. So that's where I am on the men's 100 meters. You tell me if you're joining me on the rebroadcast. Put your stuff in the comments. I'll get to it. And let me know your predictions. If you're not on the live, if you're on the live, type your predictions for the 100 meters because I want that engagement. I want to make sure. And so if we spoke about the men, it's time to go to the women's 100 meters, probably the powerhouse event, I think. Much better than the men. And again, this is, you know, most anticipated events at the championship. We have two top-class sprinters this year that have been fairly consistent, running very good times. And then we have an all-time great, the greatest in my mind, gunning for a 6th world title. And had it been a normal year, I'm not quite sure I would be necessarily questioning where the gold medal would be going. But this is what's happening to the defending champion, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce. You know, she has a tough start to the season this year, knee injuries. I think I saw something today on social media where the great Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, I think it was on Instagram, where she was doing a couple starts or just a one start, and she looked good. So we'll see. But she gave us some back-to-back 10.8s at Luzerne and I think in Madrid, Spain. And it indicates that she's on the mend, and hopefully those few weeks since those runs will put her in good shape. Impressive, I thought, over 200 meters at the Jamaica National Trials, suggests that there's still speed and endurance around. But I have to say it here, for me, if Fraser-Pryce has any chance of retaining her title and creating further history and just putting on more polish on all of those silverware that she already owns, she must nail a renowned start. She must get that bullet start and transition into that great acceleration that I think no one else can match in terms of getting to acceleration. Beautiful to watch, I've often said. But considering her injuries and the kind of setback this season, I'm thinking in my mind, what's the best time we can expect from a Fraser-Pryce? And I suspect it's hard for me to think that she can run anything better than a 10.65, given the kind of setback this season. And that's a fantastic time, but is it good enough? Then we have Shericka Jackson, fastest time of the year, 10.65 seconds. And for me, Shericka could potentially run a low 10.6, probably sub 10.6 this season. And if that happens, it spells trouble for everyone, including Fraser-Pryce. So you tell me. And then we have the US champion, Sha'Carri Richardson, 10.71. She's been fairly consistent, running hard a lot this season. Feasibly, she could run the same or even improve. There's a number of rumblings happening recently now about things that may be happening behind the scenes. I don't know if this will impact anything. But those are the three standouts you look at first. Then you say to yourself, what about the other contenders? And so the likes of a Marie-Josée Tallou, always competitive, could pose a challenge. There's Julien Alfred. She has run 10.83 legal this year. I like her a lot. I think she's fantastic. One for the future. She could factor. There's always the ever-present Dina Asher-Smith. Looked good at that London Diamond League. Gave me something to think about. So it's potentially getting her way into shape. She could do something. You never know. Maybe just outside their reach. And Munjinga Kambunji always comes to these championships and perform creditably well. This has not been a good season for her. She's had this niggling toe injury, which I should have checked with my Swiss journalist friend to figure out what was happening there. But she's back, but not necessarily anywhere close to her best. And then there's Daryl Nita, who doesn't look particularly promising this year. So those are the outsiders for me. If there's other outsiders, you could let me know. But given all of these things, and I still say it's a hard prediction to make now, but if I had to make the prediction right now, I would say Jackson for the gold, Fraser-Pryce for silver, and Richardson clinching bronze, narrowly beating the likes of Alfred and Tallou. But I want to ask for a little bit of time, and I will say I'd like to shift my prediction based on what I can see in the preliminary rounds. And I really want to, and particularly I just want to see what Fraser-Pryce can bring in the preliminary rounds. Because if she's nailing that start, I may have to reconsider. So that's where I think the medals will be going in a few days' time. Let me get back to some of your comments. I think you're having a lovely conversation without me here. Where am I here? Let's see. Yeah, I'll get to the 100-meter hurdles in a second. All in the game for sure. I think Britannia is saying she has Talu Shericka. Shelly is my girl, but her not running has not given me any confidence. Yeah, I can see that. The U.S. champion seems to be self-destructing. Destructing Sinclair. You want to elaborate some more on the self-destruction here? And then I think your response is my problem with Sha'Carri is sometimes I don't know if it's mind games or she's inconsistent. Look, the thing that we can say for sure about that woman is that she has talent. That's the most we can say, and she's run fairly well this season. Probably the most consistent for a long time. Mentally, she looked different, given the kind of hiccups she had in the. Yeah, I meant Sha'Carri, sorry. Sha'Carri Richards. Sorry about that. Mentally, she seemed to be in a different place, at least by the time we got to the US National Championships. But now we're hearing a lot of stuff right now, and I don't know. Oh, and I see what you're saying here, Britannia. You mentioned Shericka. You mean she's inconsistent with the starts? I made a I misinterpreted there. I thought you were talking about Sha'Carri. My apologies there. Yeah, I think Jackson is. Well, you have to say she's been inconsistent. Some might say it's typical MVP training protocol after major championships. You kind of come back down and then you get back to a state that will be putting you to perform your best at the World Championships. The thing about Jackson is that if she nails the start, if she's anywhere close to say a Fraser-Pryce or any other good starters in that field, then I don't think they match her, right? But if she gets one of those starts, like the Tokyo start, even the start last year, it might be trouble, right? Unless she's in a 10-5 shape, which then I don't think it matters. But we'll see. All right. All in the game. Only once in history has a sub 10.81 been needed for. Yeah, it is. It is. So are you saying a 10.8 might medal this time? I just don't know. I was just looking at this, and I guess if the conditions are right, we know it's going to be a good track. It's a new Mondo surface. I don't know how fast it's the premier Mondo surface. It's probably going to be as fast as any track out there. Probably not as fast as Oregon, but probably it's definitely as fast as the Tokyo track. We'll see. If all of these women are running at their best, if for example Shericka is running a 10.6 or better, and Fraser-Pryce gets back into the 10.6, I suspect that you still have to run 10.7 to medal. That's where I would think about it. Thanks everyone for joining me this evening. I'm here talking a number of things. Most notably, I'm discussing my predictions for the World Championships. I've just covered the men's 100 meters and the women's 100 meters. If you're joining me, I've also talked about some of the notable absences this evening from the World Championships and the likes of Sidney Mclaughlin and Kipyegon, and obviously a few drug-related things that is never good for the sport. All right, so that's my take for the 100 meters, and I'm gonna stay with the sprint since I'm in that kind of a ball game here, and make sure you put your predictions as well. Let's stay with the sprints and talk about the women's 200 meters. I think that's another big race. I have Jackson going sub 21.4. I said it. I think she can run sub 21.4, and she ran 21.71 this season. Gabby Thomas, who I think will come second, already with the fastest time of the year, 21.6, unless she has an injury. I think she will get on that podium. She didn't look particularly good when in that Diamond League event when Jackson ran the 21.8, but she blamed it on fatigue and jet lag. So hopefully she's back to her best. I don't know what to do for the third place. You never know if Richardson can get in the mix. Is Alfred running the 200 meters? She could be in the mix as well. She looks fairly good. And what can we get from Dina, right? Can Dina find her way on that podium? If she runs both 1 and 2, it might be difficult. But she's a champion from 2019, medalist as well. And I think she knows how to show up. But I think it's definitely Shericka Jackson and a Gabby Thomas, and it could be something spectacular. Let me know your thoughts on that prediction and where you think those medals would lie. Thank you, Demar, for joining me this evening. You missed. Yes, I could definitely do a recap here for you. Sometimes I don't remember the things I've said, but for the women's 100 meters, I think if you had to force me right now, I'm going to go with Shericka Jackson, and then Fraser-Pryce, and possibly Richardson with Talu in the mix, Alfred in the mix, and that's where I think it might end up going. But I reserve my right to think about changing it, given I want to see what Fraser-Pryce does in the opening rounds. If she looks really good at the start, I might change my mind. But part of me kind of feels that Jackson might be coming into the championship with the ability to run 9-6 flat or better, 10-6 flat or better, and that might prove too much for anybody. On the men's side, I went with a safe pick. There's a number of athletes there, but I think I went with Fred Curley, followed by Zarnell Hughes, and then I went for a really kind of interesting upset that I don't think many people will have, and that kid from Jamaica, Watson, with Toboga, Seville, and Lyles all in and out, in around for a medal there. I think it's going to be exciting. It's very hard to call. That one really made me think a lot about it. But thanks for joining, and you can always catch up on the rebroadcast as well. And I appreciate you on the channel. Yes, Brittany, Shericka, Gabby, Dina, that's your pick. All in the game seems to agree. Dina always finds a way. I think she does. I think one of the things I like about Asher Smith is her ability to perform even when she's not at her best. She really has to be hurt for you to take her out. So I'm back now I just concluded the women's 200 meters, and I'll move this right along. Let's talk about men's 200 meters. Some say it's Noah's world and he can do whatever he likes. I tried to think about that one. There's been a lot of talks of a world record from Noah Lyles, and he's predicted sometimes that he thinks he will be running at the World Championships. Noah says he can run 9.65 and 19:10. I like confidence. I think confidence is important. You have to have that in life. There you go. He says that he's going to run 9.65 and 19:10. Sometimes you have to speak things into existence. There's all of those philosophical talks. But I put to you, there are limits. There are limits to a lot of things. And while I have Noah as odds-on favorite, I don't think he's coming anywhere close to a 19:10 or a 19:65. I think the 19:65 to me is even more farcical than the 19:10, which is also farcical. There's no way he's running 9.65. On what planet can he do that? I just don't see it. There's no indication that he can even get out and execute the kind of start to run anywhere close. He wants to be top 2 of all time running those times. Those times you just don't get those times. Even with modern track sophistication and these new spikes that make you run faster, I'm not seeing it. And you're not running 19:10 if you're telling me you're going to run to medal in the 100 meters. I just don't think he has the ability to go through those kind of rounds and then even go close to the world record. It's not happening. I would like to be proven wrong, but there are limits. But back to the 200 meters. While I think Noah is odds-on favorite, I think this time it won't be easy because he has to now run the 100 meters. And if you know his personality, he will do his best to medal. Let's see Toboga, very hot this year, 1950, area record, breaks the great Frankie Fredericks record. And then you have the kid Knighton at 1972. And there's people like Kung Fu Kenny. The Nigerian kid is out with injury. The one that ran the 1976 Odudi, or I think his name is. But I still think Lyles would win. So my prediction is Noah Lyles, Tebogo second, then Arian Knighton. No world record. Let's see what you guys have to say. Let me pull up some of these comments here. Thanks everyone for joining me. Don't forget to put your prediction. It's a good amount of people on the live. I appreciate you. You put your predictions too. Let's see what's going on here. Demar says he has I have Tebogo winning once he gets a favorable lane. We discussed lane draws last week with the new rules. That would be something special. I mean, the kid run some good PBs this year. I think he, over a 9-day span, he had some fantastic performances. What does All in the Game says? Under good conditions, the top three, Lyles, Knighton, Kenny, Tebogo, Zarnell, should be able to run sub 9.7 in final. Yeah, we'll see. The thing that I like those... here's what I have to say to it. He should be able to do it. And Zarnell in particular, and even Tebogo, right? But you see, when you start doing these double things and what it might take on the body, it could be tough. It could be tough. But let's see. He looks like he's in good shape. We'll see. Let's see what's going on here from St. Clair. Thin line between confidence and arrogance. After the 100 meters, now will not have much left for the 200 meters. And that's the thing. That's why I think this year, and you're spot on this, it might be very difficult for him. Part of me wants to say, let's see, Lee, maybe you should skip the 100 meters and just run the 200 meters this year. But I know they probably won't do that because Noah will have to run hard to even make the final of the 100 meters, only because of execution, I think. I think execution could fail him, right? And so that could be a problem. And speaking of that, Shema, I don't know if I've seen you before. If you've been here before, I apologize, but thank you for joining me. He said, I don't see Noah making the 100-meter finals, and that's a good possibility as well. I mean, he has the ability, but can he execute and not get... because most of the times we see Lyles running, he has to be coming back. It's the second half of the race in which he really does something. And if he doesn't get executed out of the blocks well enough, it's problematic. Let's see, where are we here? Britannia, saying Noah, Leslie, Zarnell, or Aaron, or Kenny. Yeah, I think there's that there. Who's Ron? I don't know if I've seen you, Ron. Thanks for joining me. Richard's all the way. Time for all the haters to eat their words. We'll see. I think she certainly has a talent. This is a big year for her. One of the things that we've said before, and I've talked about this, she has a kind of a style of bravado that not everybody likes, but sometimes you need it for the sport. She's an athlete that people outside the sport also know, and but when you ascend to this kind of transcending the sport, I think it works better when you have the medals, the titles to back it up. So this is an opportunity for her. I think this year, next year is an important 2 years, and the year after, to definitely cement herself if she wants to be part of these conversations, because it's very hard to get into the conversation of the greats. It's to work your way up to the all-time great, to even work your way up to an American great is difficult, very difficult. I've said it a number of times. Evelyn Ashford, to me, is the greatest American 100-meter sprinter. Given her body of work. You have likes of Gale. You have to start winning to be in the mix. So this is her time. Let's see. Thanks. He's a silent watcher, our Shade. I don't know, our view. I appreciate you on the channel. So that's where we are on that. Thanks everyone for joining me. So we've just now wrapped up the sprint events at the World Championships, and if you're just coming on, you can go back and see those and put in the comments when you get a chance, and let me know your thoughts on those predictions and give me your predictions for the World Championships. All right, I'm going to stay and I'm going to double up and we go to men's 400 meters. Another hot event at the World Championships. One where I think Stephen Gardner has emerged as the dominant force in the 400 meters in the post-Van Niekerk injuries situation, if you want to think about it that way. And Gardner himself has also had some setbacks. You know, he missed out, but he has the Olympic title, and he also has the world title from 2019, and he leads he has the fastest time of the year, 43.74, I believe. And also, it's good to see Wade Van Niekerk back. I think he's in the spotlight for the first time since his last world title, which I believe is all the way back in London. And he's fourth fastest of the year. Van Niekerk, in my mind, looks rejuvenated. I was hoping that he would have run under 44 seconds at the last Diamond League outing. At least he said he was going to do it. It didn't happen. So I think, for me, the gold medal and the silver medal, the gold medal for me is Gardner. I think even at Van Niekerk's best this year, I don't think he can beat Stephen. So I think the gold medal goes back to Bahamas. I think Van Niekerk will medal this time. He'll come second. And the third place is somewhere I'm not 100% sure about, right? You know, what we're going to get from the Zambian, you know, Muzala, Samu Konga. You know, he had a sub 44 seconds earlier this year. Can he put himself into the mix? You know, we should never count out Kirani, James, but he's been through a lot of trauma this year, and he ran recently, and it wasn't that convincing, and it made me think that this is not the year to have Kirani in the mix, so I have him out. There are other potential medalists that we can think about. There's Bryce Dedman from the United States. Who knows? Vernon Norwood might spring a surprise. What about the likes of a Sean Bailey and Antonia Watson? I don't know. So I think third place is definitely up for grabs. But I definitely think it's Gardner, clear favorite for me. Van Niekerk back on the medal podium, which would be lovely to see. And then, you know, there's a host of space for others, but maybe if Samu Konga gets it right, he could find his way onto the medal podium. You let me know. Let's get to some comments and questions and see where we are. Demar saying Gardner's clear front runner, but Van Niekerk can never be counted out. I agree with those. All in the game, Jermaine Richards, who ran a 44.54 PB a few weeks ago, has smartly chosen to run the 400 meters instead of the 200. A bronze is likely for him. That's a good point too. I forgot about the Trinidadian. You know, my wife might be upset, but you know, they're not factoring. Hope she's not watching. But that he could be in the mix. Yeah, he definitely could be in the mix. Yeah. Oh, and yeah, Brittany says she has Gardner. You still have Kirani. That's interesting. I just don't know if Kirani, James, will factor this year unless look. He's a guy with a lot of experience. Let's see. I would love to see it. You know, especially for what happened this year. Getting him on the medal table will be interesting. Mike Norman. I saw the United States list. He's listed there, but I just don't see it. Initially, he was hoping to run the 100 meters this year, and that didn't turn out the way he wanted to. I don't know. I can't see, to be honest with you, Demar. He has issues. He has injuries. There's a new system, coaching setup as well. And Bailey or Antonio Watson for bronze, fingers crossed. That would be good to see. It would be good to see the Jamaicans back in the medal podium. I often think about the legacy of Jamaican sprinting, where it started, the quarter mile of history, the London Olympics, the Helsinki Games, that kind of line of Wint, McKinley, Lang, Roden, Then you get into the 1980s, the first world champion over 400 meters, Bertland Cameron. We've seen some other medalists over the past, a Greg Horton. It's the one event that I think the country as a whole, athletes who run it, have to look at themselves and say they have not done enough. They should always be amongst the medals on the men's side here, the kind of immense talent that comes up. But that's a rant that I'm getting on here that I shouldn't be getting on. But yeah, I would love to see it. Peter Martin, I thank you for joining me. I'm not quite sure if I've seen you before. If it's your first time, welcome. If you've been here a lot, well, welcome again. You have, what's this? Shericka Jackson will win at Budapest. Trust me, don't be surprised. World record. In what event? The 200 meters or the 100 meters? The 200 meters is more likely for me. I think it's the softer of the two records. But I don't think I would have to see something outrageously good over the first part of the race to even make me think that's possible. The 100 meter world record is out of it's not, we can't even think about it. Yeah, hurricane in Indianapolis, and it's on the books forever. We'll see. Okay, so that's that for the men's 400 meters. Let's move along and predict the women's 400 meters. And I thank you guys for sticking around. And we've been here almost an hour. We may have to do 2 lives. Let's see how long we'll be here. All right. And so the women's 400 meters was supposed to be the Sidney Mclaughlin show. She boasted a really fantastic time of 48.74 seconds. Now the news today, she's out of the championships with a minor knee injury. Paulina, for me, was still in contention for the gold medal. Some might laugh at that, but I just felt that if Sidney didn't execute well or manage the rounds well enough, there's a possibility that she would have been able to do something. But in this case, I think Paulina should clinch the gold now. That's where I'm thinking. But then you have others like, where does the like of a Brittany Wilson factor? She ran a 49.13 this year. Will she bounce back from the collegiate season? The same questions for Adeleke, the Irish woman, 49.20. And then there's Natalia Kazmarek. She had a 49.48. So looking good late on. And then we can't count out the return of a NASA, already running 49.78 this season. And then we saw that Shawnee Miller-Weebo is going to the World Championships 4 months after giving birth. I mean, she couldn't make her way on the podium, right? She's just there for, I don't even know what Shawnee's running. I should have looked at the list. Is she really running the 400 meters? But for me, I think it's going to be Paulina. Maybe, and this might come as a surprise, maybe Kazmarek, Natalia, and maybe Adeleke. But I have this funny feeling that NASA might do something. But it's a hard one to call. But that's where I'm going to go. So you let me know your thoughts on this. Let me get some of your comments here. Let's see. Where have I picked up from? Okay, world record in the 100. Oh, I can't see that, Peter. I just can't see it. But I mean, I would love it. I would really love it, but I can't see it. Patrick, thank you for joining us too. Sha'Carri, Tolu, Jackson, and Shelly Fort in the 100 meters. Okay, interesting. We'll see. I mean, it's possible. But yeah, definitely not where I'm going. But I see what you're saying. All in the game. The times in the 400 meter final won't be as fast now. That is true, but we'll still get a good race between Paulina, Nassan, Bristol, Rashidat, Kazmarek, and Kalba. I agree. I think the quality is still there. It's just that missing Sidney. it's tough, but hey, when you have a minor knee injury, you got to take care of it. Dixon, Paulina will definitely win that goal. I had her winning. True. Yes, the other Dominican Republic athlete had she's out with high levels of testosterone. What's her name again? Is it Kofil? I have to look it up. I think that's her name. Yeah. And here's all in the game. Why is Shauna doing this 4 months after giving birth? That's a very good question. Very good question. I don't know what she's there. That's remarkable that she can go to the World Championships after that. It's I can't even fathom that. What did Demar say? Sean is there for fitness, not to win. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but she could do fitness behind closed doors, right? Not at the World Championships, but maybe she loves to compete, or maybe she feels like she has something. But that's really a quick turnaround. It's not even like an 8 month or a 9 month. That's there. It's a quick turnaround. There's some more here. I'm gonna get to the 800 in a second, Latoya. Thank you for posing that question, and then you can tell me too when I give you my predictions there. And what is this top boy price? I have Shelly winning the 100 meters, Shherikka winning the 200. I wouldn't be angry at that either. I as you see in my earlier thing here, I'm hoping I'm reserving my to change my predictions when we get to the through the rounds, but we'll see. So that's where we are. I'm going to continue. So that I just wrapped up the women's 400 meters and the men's 400 meters. Since you posed the question of the 800, I was going to go to the steeplechase next, but let me just skip around a little bit and go to the 800 meters. Let me find a prediction for you really quickly, just to give you what you want. Women's 800 meters. It's another marquee event, extremely stacked with talent. But the elephant in the room is, I think, Moo's participation. There's a lot of uncertainty around that. We've covered it before. We saw Bobby Kersey hinting that they're still deciding. As of tonight, I don't know the answer to that. If she's getting on a plane for vacation or if she's getting on a plane for the World Championships in Budapest. If anybody knows the answer to that, let me know really quickly. But I didn't see anything up until production time today. Look, her absence is, we can't even underestimate what that means. We're talking about the defending Olympic and world champion, but we still have some big time performers in women's 800 meters. Mary Moore from Kenya, Keely Hutchinson from Great Britain, really big standout performance, right? So without Moo in the lineup, if she's not there, then my inclination is to lean towards Hutchinson taking the goal, followed closely by Mora. I really like Mora this year. I think she's fantastic, better tactically and everything. But I think maybe Keely might be saving herself, and I think both of them would be, trying to get into that 155 range or so and see what happens there. The battle for bronze still open for me, but we saw Gemma Ricci coming back recently. She ran a 157.3. There is Gould Toplin from Jamaica, 157.6. There's Nikai as well, 157.62. So those people can factor. I would love it, since you brought up Natalia, I would love it for her to get on the podium, because she's been around for a long period of time. She's run well on the circuit. She's been in a lot of major finals, and it just hasn't quite happened. And then now she's among some big-time runners. So it's hard, right? But I would love to see it, but I don't know. I think she's in the mix for a medal now, since Moo is not, well, assuming Moo doesn't go. But if Moo goes to the World Championship, given what we saw over 15 and 4, I think it's between Moo, Hutchinson, and Moore. But if Moo is out, then I think a third place medal might be up for grabs. So that's where I'm thinking the 800 meters may go. Let me get some of your thoughts. I'll bring up back that on screen to see what I've missed so far. Let's see. What is this? To those expecting her to make the final, she ran 25.3. for 200 meters a few weeks ago. Will be surprised if she makes the final. And I think that's in reference to Mila Weibo. Yeah, I would be. Yeah, I definitely would be surprised too. Latoya, I think you're catching up. Shericka, Shelly Talou. Okay, that's not bad. Shelly is coming with a surprise. I want to see it. I would love to see it. I would love to see a 10-6 flat too, but we have to see. And All in the Game has Mora beating Keely. I have a feeling you were going that way. Part of me, I was wrestling with that today. I don't know if it's because I felt like Keely. I don't know. I have no allegiance to anybody. I don't know Keely or anything like that. I felt like last year she could have pushed I think better. This year I think they've run her sparingly as well. We'll see. Yeah, but Mora is big time. Goal for Bronze Queen from St. Clair. That would be nice. I like Natalia has been consistent on the 159. Yeah, I think that's where it's gonna be. I like that Keely Mora fighting it out. Natalia, Nika, and Gemma Riki. Yeah, I mean, I think we're gonna get a very good race. I think we could end up with a situation where you get to 6th place and people are earning 157s and better, and that's always good for the sport. Them are asking, how often will you be going live during the World Championships? Will we have a nightly reaction after? I definitely want to go every day. The World Championships hit me at a point where I have to go back to work, but it should have been earlier. But I will be. I mean, I'm gonna do some live shows next Saturday for sure, and Sunday, and I'll try to definitely go live, even a nightly recap or bust out a live on my phone if necessary, especially if there's some stellar performances after the evening session. This is a World Championship where if you're on East Coast time or West Coast time, this side of the world is it's early in the day in terms of the morning session, and afternoon, evening, mid-afternoon, early evening for us when night session happens. So we'll see. But I'll try to be on for sure. Definitely I'll do my best. Definitely, I can promise that. Patrick, the women's 200 meters will come down to who execute the blocks well and the curves. So the 200 is kind of up for it. I don't know. I mean, you meaning in terms of between Shericka and Gabby? Possibly. I think Shericka is setting up to be a 21-4 runner again, or even better. And so, can Gabby get to that? Possibly. I think Gabby can run 21-5 this year. I would love to see it. I think if Gabby can get to 21-5 and Shericka gets to better than even last year, then we're looking at the world record. It's possible. It's been on the books for a while. It would be. I'd love to see it. I don't want to get into that tonight again. Yeah. Actually, thank you for saying this. I actually love your content. You're not biased. You tell you see. I try. I try to give it as clear as I can, and I thank you for saying that. All right, I will continue. I just wrapped up the women's 800 meters. Let's just do men, and then I can get back to some other things. Men's, not quite sure what to make of this championship. I don't know what to make of the defending champion, rather, Emmanuel Corey. I can't see him factoring, but stranger things have happened. And I'll do this one quickly if I remember my predictions here. So I think I want to say Emmanuel Wanyoni will win. Then I'll probably followed by Mula, and then I'm going to go with Arup rather, from Canada. So I think that's where I'm thinking the 800 meters will go. The top times this year is 1:43.22 from Kinyamal, but I don't know. I think Arup might do something and get into the medal table. So let me know your thoughts on that for sure. But I think Wanyoni might be my favorite this year. I had to think through this in some interesting ways. So and that's where I'm thinking we'll do. So I'll get back to some more of your comments here. Good to see you, Kimon Blackwood. 21-26 for Jackson. I can't see it. That's how you know what 126 is. That no, I mean I can't. I think if she were to break the Flojo record, it might be like 100 of a second or 200 of a second. I can't see that. I mean, that would be some straight up Stephen or Paul Francis magic right there. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see. We also that might be interesting to look at as well. Yeah, so that's my prediction on the 800 meters real quickly. Let me go back before I forget some of the things. Let me go to steeplechase real quickly. And bear with me. You got to love the steeplechase. It's going to be great this year. I don't think the defending men's steeplechase. So El Bakali, defending champion, world and Olympic champion. He has a PB of what? I think 7:56.68. He's not winning this time. Lemaitre Germa is winning for me. He's the newly minted world record holder, 7:52.11. I'm going with Germa this time. I think El Bakali will get on the medal podium because he knows how to deliver at the major championships. And then for me, the bronze is up for grabs. So it could be Wale or Kipyegon. So one of those two guys I think might get it. Maybe Kipyegon. I'm not quite sure. But I think it's going to be Germa, then El Bakali. You let me know your thoughts on that. Let me do the women's steeplechase if you want to do that really quickly too. I think both Chepkoech will medal, and they'll be separated for me by Almeyu. So I'm going to go with Jacqueline for the win, Jacqueline Chepkoech, and second would be Sembo Almeyu, or I always butcher these people's name, and then Beatrice Chepkoech would be for the bronze. So that's where I'm going to go for women's steeplechase. I think it's going to be great races for both men and women's steeplechase. So that's where I am going there. Let me get some more comments if there's some more there before we go. Yeah, I agree with that. El Bakar has chance to perform over Germa. Yeah, I can't disagree with that argument. I was sitting there thinking that's the case. But if Germa is in that kind of world record shape, I don't know if El Bakali can get himself to that level. So that's what I'm thinking. So that's why I think the world record pushes it over the line for me. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. All right. So I'm going to move it along. So I just completed that. Let's go to some 1,500 meters because I think that, staying in the distance and stick around. You guys should all like this. Put your comment, your predictions in the chat. Don't let all in the game do all the good predictions here. Who knows? We may be winning some prizes at the end of the World Championships. I have to talk to my producer about that. Women's 1,500 meters. It's going to be one of the most fantastic races of the championship. I want to start before I do my prediction here. I want to talk about Sifan Hassan. And I'm going to beg Sifan Hassan to just run 5 and 10. Avoid the 1,500 this year. It's not 2021. You're not in that kind of shape. Although I must respect the marathon run in London. I just feel like if you go in that all 3 events, you're sabotaging yourself. I'm wondering if the Sifan Hassan thing is just them listing her because she's that good. But tackling those things, given the schedule, is gruesome. And given the quality of women that you have to run in these events. So that's where I want to think. That's what I'm thinking. So I don't want her to run the 1,500 meters, but we'll see. But it's going to be an easy victory for Faith Kipyegon. She's going to break the world record again. We haven't seen world records at the major championships, especially in the distance running, and I want to see it. So let's see if she can do it. I'd love to see it. I think she's solidly the athlete of the year so far, and I don't think you can come anywhere close to Faith Kipyegon, and then maybe Shisha might be second, and I think I'm going with Halem for the bronze. I'm not even including Sifan Hassan in the mix because I don't want her to run. All right. Men's 1,500 meters, set it up again to be dominated by Jakob Ingerbrigtsen. Last year at the World Championships in Oregon, he was surprisingly outpaced by Jake Whiteman, who unfortunately won't be defending his title this year. Nevertheless, I think Jakob has shown all season that he has the ability to to rack up the big times, and he's again overwhelming favorite. I think he ran 3 minutes 27:14 this year. So the looming question with Jakob now is the Hickam El Garouge record. Can he get anywhere close to that? Because I don't really see any other serious contenders for the gold medal. So the question is, can he run against the clock and do something there? We'll have to see. That El Garouge record has been on the books for quite a while as well. I know I'm not quite sure if Jakob is at that level yet, but we'll have to see. But I'm sure he might be trying to do that. What better place to do it than in the World Championship? And the silver and bronze, possibly wide open for me. I don't know what you guys think here. USA guy looks good. Nagoose or Nagoose, however his name is pronounced. I think he's in the mix. There's Mohamed Qatar, that he's also in the mix. Then Timothy Chariot. And then maybe even Great Britain's Josh Kerr could also do something. Can he deliver a surprise? So I think Jakob for me, maybe Mohamed Qatar second, and then Yared Nagoose for the bronze medal. Probably just narrowly beating Timothy Chariot. So we'll see. That's where I'm thinking here. What your guys is? Let me get your guys' thoughts on the distance runners. Yeah, you have him for silver too. Thanks all in the game. What about other people? There's a lot of people on the live. You guys don't want to watch the distance running? This is exciting. Track and field is the greatest. Everything we have to think about. Patrick thinks fit all the way easy. I think, yeah, easy for her. 50-meter world record is one of the greatest feats. Yeah, definitely. That was a fantastic race. I agree. I think all in the game had something about world records incredibly difficult at world championships. That is true. I wonder if we can get wave light into the world championships at some point or the Olympics, then that might offer the athletes some more assistance. So we'll see. But those are going to be some exciting things. I've been talking all track so far, so let me quickly jump into the field and I'll get back on the track again. We're on this live for a while, and I'll stay on it as long as we can. And if we need to come back tomorrow, I'll try to find some time tomorrow, if I'm allowed. Men's shot put. Let's do that quickly. Ryan Krauser, maybe another world record for me. Can he go beyond 23:56? Clear favorite. Interesting thing about this World Championships is that the US is sending the same team that made it on the podium in Oregon. So Krauser is back, obviously. There's Joe Kovacs, former world champion as well. Joshua Atunde is there as well. I think those guys are in the mix. But for me, I don't think it's going to be an all-US podium this time again. I think Big Tommy Walsh will feature. And so I think it's going to be Krauser, Joe Kovacs, and Walsh on the podium. It's also interesting this year that Jamaica has an interesting thrower. Rajendra Campbell, 22. I think that's the fourth longest distance of the year, behind Walsh, Kovacs, and Ryan Krauser. So I expect, that's what I'm expecting. Let me know your thoughts there. I think Walsh will probably prevent this clean sweep. I'll do women really quickly, and I apologize for not going in depth. If you want, I can. But I just want to get through there's a lot of events. Gong, Ely, Dongmo for me. Gong, she's coming back again. I think Dong has, how many titles does Dong have? She's ridiculously decorated. I think Ely will be there and Dongmo. Can Ewan be a big factor? Ewan did 20.4, I think, this year, is it? So maybe she can be there. Danielle Thomas Dodd is fifth farthest for the year, but if you're not throwing over the 20-meter mark, I'm not thinking you're going to get on this podium. So I think that's where I'm going to go. Gong, Ely, and Dongmo. Let me get back some more of your comments here. Let me just do this quickly. What time would you say women's 100 meters? 10 point. So part of me feels, and I don't know if I said this at the top of the show. Part of me feels that Jackson's going to come in with a 10.6 or better shape. And so I think it's going to take a low 10.6, maybe a sub 10 6 if she can execute well, and which might put it out of reach even for the likes of Fraser-Pryce, and it's hard to say that. What else? All in the game. Can Tom Munch prevent a sweep? That's what I'm predicting. We'll have to see. Good to see you over, Supreme. You're a little bit late tonight. You got an hour and change to catch up on, but I know you're good for it. Yeah, Maggie, I was saying that myself. Maybe she can get into the mix. She had a really good, really good throw, some good series of throws this year. And I'm going to get into that in a second, Patrick, and I'm also going to get into the 100-meter hurdles and the relays and so on. I have all of that for you tonight. And if I hopefully you can stick around or get me back on the live broadcast, I'm going to speed through some of these reviews. So maybe I have to stop looking at your comments. All right, so I just did the shot put there. All right, since you guys are asking, let me skip around and give you my you guys messing up my flow of things, but you wanted triple jump. Let's see if I can get to triple jump real quickly, and then I can come back later for you. All right, men's triple jump. This is going to be very exciting for me. World lead is the world under 20 record, 1087 by Jaden Hibbert, 18 years of age. It's just ridiculous that we're even thinking he's going to be in the mix. But Diaz is there, Pichard is there, Zango is there. And part of me feels like, how can you not have these three guys on the podium? But the question for me is, can you stop Hibbert from forcing his way onto the podium? He had a really cool video recently with World Athletics, and they asked him when you get 18 meters, he says he's going to save that for the World Championships. If he can do that, if he can do 1787 or better, I think he gets on the podium. But this is his first time at a major championship. But the kid is steely, the kid is ready. But I hate to say it, I just feel like it's Diaz, Pichardo, and Zango. But the kid could surprise. That's where I'm thinking. Women, I'm going to, obviously, Ulamar, it's like a forever thing. Perez, I think, can get on it. Beckromanchuk, possibly over Ricketts. Ricketts have medal at the last two championships, world championships, missed out at the Olympics. Excuse me, missed out at the Olympics, I apologize. But Shanika is a big-time performer, but maybe, I think the bronze is between Beckromanchuk and Shanika Ricketts. So Ulamar, Perez, then Ramonchuk or Ricketts. So that's that for you. I'm doing that really quickly. Let me get back to some of your thing. What's my opinion on wave light? I have a video on that. I'll ask my producer to put it up. I did that some time ago in January. I like it. I wasn't quite sure, but it's interesting. I think it's kind of good for the sport, new technology. I don't know if it will make its way into the into the mix. That's a good question. But didn't he jump recently? Was it Mason the last time he jumped? Huh. I have to check on that again. Well, you always know the answer to that all in the game, so I'll go with your thoughts on that. Yeah. All right. So that was triple jump. Someone else had something else. All right. Let me go. Let me give you your fix, Demar, and then I'll go back and make sure I don't miss any of these events because I had a flow for you guys. But let's go with the 100-meter hurdles. Let's start with the 110-meter hurdles, for men. This is going to be exciting as usual. It promises to be electrifying, if I can use that word. You can't really look past Grant Holloway. He's been consistently favorites at every major event for the longest time, and with good reason. He often makes his way on top of the podium. He missed out in 2021 when Hansa Parchment delivered a fantastic gold medal for Jamaica. I've said this a number of times. I think Grant Holloway is the best sprint hurdles through 8 hurdles. I've never seen anybody better. But after that, it's problematic. So if you're in the mix, you could challenge him. He freezes up a little bit at that point. And so I think if Jamaica's broad bell with his 12.94 this season. If he's close to Holloway in that 8th hurdle or so, I think he could very well surpass him and get a gold medal. There's Cordell Tinch. He's a breakout star this year. So somehow I feel like it's going to be Broadwell, Holloway, and Tinch. That's just my prediction. I could be wrong on that. But I think Broadwell this year could do something. I think he's fantastic. I keep saying Broadwell, but I think it's Broadbell. Sorry. Women's 100-meter hurdles. Let me talk about that before I get back to the comments real quickly. Probably the hottest event at the championships. Probably. If we go back to Oregon 2022, we saw a fantastic lineup there. We saw world record performance by Toby Amoson. She's a defending champion, world record holder, but she's on provisional suspension. She's currently waiting clearance to compete. I think the World Athletics listed her, and so it's just whether or not she can win that case. But my question is, say Toby were to get off, how does an athlete come to the championship and be competitive mentally, especially with such a stacked field? So that's my question. So if she's in the mix, what will happen? We're missing the likes of Anderson from Jamaica, who's injured, but I think she's training again. So hopefully next year we'll see her. But back to the whole thing, what we're here for. I think Jasmine Camacho Quinn, always in the mix, and I think she's going to win. That's what I'm saying. So it's going to be Camacho Quinn. Then we have Nia Ali, I think her resilience is unparalleled. I like her a lot. She will be probably in the mix. Kenny Harrison, former world record holder, should be in the mix as well. Then you have the likes of the young talents like Akira Nugent, Masai Russell, Kambunji. She just broke the Swiss record. She could be in the mix. I don't know. Probably too far. Then you have also Megan Tapper from Jamaica, the Tokyo bronze medalist. So there's some people there. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be tough. You might have to run a 12.4 or better to get to the final. We saw that last year, right? So I think I'm going to go with Camacho Quinn for the gold, Niali for the silver. And I think maybe Harrison might just clinch it over Nugent. That's where I am. So that's me setting you up there. Let me get some comments here quickly because I'm probably missing out a lot. I'll get to the Greek guy. Who are you talking? Tentoglu in the long jump. Yeah, I'll get to the long jump in a little bit. Yeah, I think Tinch and Izuma, they're wild cards. I agree with you. I definitely agree here. Hurdles, Jamaica 1, 2, USA 3. It's a lot of confidence. Let's see. I wouldn't be mad at it, but we'll see. Ooh. So are you saying Camacho Quinn will lose? Interesting. What else here? I hope Nia Ali wins Mommy Hurdler. Yeah. I think I have a lot of time for her. Yeah. Good. I don't think so. I think actually I think the changes to the lane is better than last time, and I went over it last live. I don't think it impacts you that well. I think it impacts you when you're in the last. You get 1 and 8, and if you're in the top, you get I actually don't think so. Well, you think like a top runner might get 7? You don't like it? Yeah, we can discuss that another time. But I thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, I don't think that should be a problem. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to see this. It's hard for me to see this. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I don't think so. I suspect they should be fine. I think the biggest thing is usually the last rank athletes. Yeah. All right. So thanks everybody for being with me. Don't forget to give me a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. So what else did Dixon ask for that I didn't do yet? Yeah, I got to go back to some of these things. No, My producer have to tell me where I am. I don't even remember where I am. Let's do some 5,000 real quickly. I promise you I'll get you out of this real quick. I don't know what to make of Joshua Cheptegei. His current form. It's problematic for me. Jakob still favorite for that medal. Kipruto might take second place. I'm really uncertain about Cheptegei's performance, but he might still finish in the top 3. You never know. Arigewi, I don't know where he is, so it's hard for me to call that. I think Jakob would win the double. Men's 10,000 meters, Cheptegei, world record holder, should be in the mix. Kiplimo just withdrew, and I was leaning for him as a possible contender. So now I'm probably saying it's gonna be Arigewi and Cheptegei, then Dilu. That's probably where I'm gonna go for that. That's what I was thinking about earlier today. Did I do women's 5,000? I don't know if I did that. Probably not. So there's a lot of all-time greats in this event, but I think Fate will win. You got Guide, Hassan, Segai. Still uncertain about Sifan's strategy here, especially if she participates in that 1,500 meters as I talked about. So let's quickly, I'll give it to you without analysis. Kipyegon for the goal, Segai, Chebet. Maybe Hassan is in contention, just depending on what she does. 10,000 meters, I want to go with Sifan for this. But if she goes and runs that kind of madness, I'm not quite sure. So, I could see it being Segai, Guidi, then Hassan. That might be it. All women running sub 30 minutes. All right, so those are my quick things there. Let me get back to some quick comments real quickly. Thanks everybody. Oh, sorry, all in the game. I misinterpret. Yeah, I think it's her race to lose. I agree with you. She's definitely the favorite. Yeah. When you're on the live this long, you start misreading things. All right, where am I? I want to make sure I get through everything. Since this is in front of me, high jump, Barshim, Wu, Harrison. That's who I have it. Women's high jump, Manchukit, Oliseglas, and Patterson. I also like Vashti, Cunningham, and maybe Lamar could pull an upset, but I probably doubt it. Men's pole vault, I think world record again for Mondo, Nielsen, and Obenia probably on the podium. Women, and I'm doing this fast, so my producers might be upset. Katie Moon, McCartney, and Myrtle. I think that's where I'm going. Still I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'll go with that. For the long jump, women's long jump, Woodall, so Davis Woodall, Smith from Jamaica, because hopefully she can find her form again, and Burks. There's other people out there. There's D'Souza. Who else is there? Hatta, I think. But maybe Davis, Woodall, Smith, Burks. Men's long jump. Strange year for the long jump. The two Indian guys with the big jumps. But I don't know if they can perform. Excuse me. Not sure if these Indian guys can perform at the world stage. Nothing against them, but we'll see. Aldrin and forgot the next guy's name. They had the big jumps this year, the 840s. But I think it's going to be Tentoglu because he has the experience. And then probably Dendi. And I don't know who for third place. I was struggling with it. It could be Lynn, it could be Pinnock, but these guys, I don't know if they can relive the performance, especially the college guys. But we'll see. I'm still open for the third place for the World Championships there. And I already did triple jump. That's a good question. Probably, yeah. That's a bad call on my part. Yeah, that's not a bad call. That's a good call on Brittany. Yeah, she's always in the mix too. Yeah, she's always in the mix. We'll have to see. Yeah, that is true too. Larissa has been jumping well. We'll see. We shall see. Yeah, I think men's long jump is problematic. There's people, but there's some good guys there. I mean, there's a lot of people in the mix that could do something. That's the problem. It's kind of unpredictable. We're not getting big jumps as we used to be get. We used to get, but it's also tough on the joints, and it's not the kind of event that people just get up and say, "I want to be a long jumper." You can make a good living out of it, but I just don't know, right? I just don't know. Yeah. Women's discuss. I'll do those fast, and we can break them down if you want. But I know a lot of you have been here for an hour and a half, and I don't want to belabor the thing. Alman, Perez, and then Fengbing, probably for me. That's where I'm probably leaning. There's other people in the mix as well, but that's where I'm thinking. Men's discuss, Czech Stahl, and Alekna. So Kristen Che, Daniel Stahl, and Alekna. I can't believe we're living in a period where the great Alekna's son is now in contention for a medal. There's a bunch of, Jamaica has a lot of talent there, but, if you're not I think you have to throw 70 and above to win. And that's where it is. It's an exciting period in discus throw. Hammer, Nowicki, Kokan, and I'm going to put Pavel Fidek in, even though he hasn't been anywhere close this year. But I just feel like he has his championship performer. And that means I'm overlooking Winkler. But Winkler's been good this season as well. But that's where I'm going to go with. Nowicki, Kokan, and Fidek. Women's hammer, I'm going to go with Anderson, Price, Rogers. That's my way of thinking about it. Javelin, that was also a hard one for me, but maybe Neeraj Chopra might do something. Anderson Peters, and then I'm gonna throw in this new guy. Well, it's not that new, but Hendler, Helander rather. What am I saying? Yeah, Helander. I think he might do it. So we'll see. So those are my guys there. Women's javelin, I'm gonna go with Kitaguchi, Barber, and I was struggling for the third place. Just wasn't quite sure what to do there, so I'm gonna go. I think I said Tenzengo, if that's how it's pronounced. Yeah. So that's where I am there. Heptathlon, Hall, Katharina Johnson-Thompson, and Vaninen, because we don't have Nafi's out this year, so I think Hall will win easily. And Johnson-Thompson, we'll see what happens there. And Van Nienen will probably. Decathlon, Mayer, I think, might do it. That new German kid is impressive. Leo Norgobor, however it's pronounced. I can't even pronounce that well. And then maybe Warner, you can never count him out. So that's where I think it might land. And I'll stop there and I can get back to some comments, then I'll do some other ones. India has some javelin guys too. Even the field events. I think some years ago they had some good investment in their program in terms of developing their track and field, and it seemed to be paying some dividends. So we'll see. That's a good call to Van Kinkelen to medal and discuss. Yeah. All right, so I have some more, and I'm gonna just run through them. I know I haven't, we've been on this for a while, and I said I would do everything. Marathon, not quite sure. Maybe Tola, Bell, Kiplagat, or maybe Gebre Selassie for men. For the women, Gebre Selassie, Yehula, and Wanjiru probably. Women's 20K walk, I have Garcia, Young, then Perez. Women, Garcia. For 35K, I think Garcia again, Hung, and Jusbati. Men's is the men's 20K is Yamanishi, Ikeda, and Stano. Stano, I think, will win the 35K walk. Kawano for silver, and Karsten for the bronze. And then let's get back to some other stuff that a lot of people like to talk about. And we can go through a lot of that. Thanks everyone for joining me. It's been a long live, and if you're catching me late, go back and get your stuff in the comments. We're gonna hash it out. Let's get to some relays. We asked about this. Let's do this. Let me start with the mixed relays. USA, Dominican Republic, Jamaica. I think that's where I'm going to go. Let's get that out of the way. That's the first relay out of the way. That's my prediction there. 4x100 meter from men. I think the United States guys will pull it off. But Great Britain guys, you can't count out the GB guys. It's going to be tough. The GB guys might be in the mix. And I have to be honest, for the first time in a long time, I think Jamaica can find themselves back on the medal podium. If those guys that they have assembled can get the stick around efficiently, I think Jamaica men can be in the mix for a medal. Likewise, Japan as usual. But I think USA, GB, Jamaica. Not quite sure what the Canadians are doing. You know, the grass, you never know, can lead a revolution of these guys. But this is where I'm going to go. Women's 4x100 meters. If you asked me before the start of this week, I wasn't quite sure. I'm not quite sure. It's going to be tough. Then I saw some kerfuffle, a little skirmish, whatever you want to call it. Don't want to talk about it unless you guys want to talk about it. I think my prediction for the women's 4x100 meter relay is going to be Jamaica, USA, and GB. I think it's going to be a tough call between Jamaica and USA. I mean, we saw that last time. Last time we should have won that relay, and we, as in Jamaica, probably should have won the relay quite easily. You were probably expecting a world record. It didn't happen. I think if Jamaica can get their act together, the baton passes around, they should be able to win this. But the USA women are also in contention, but we don't know. And then that leads me to the 4x4, and I'll just do it, and then we'll come back and just break down where we are. Men's 4x4, I think the US wins that easily as usual. That's how I think about it. I think Jamaica can get in the mix. It's possible. They have a good set of guys. And you could only imagine if they had a good Akeem Bloomfield and a good Chris Taylor and Nathan Allen, they probably would be able to win this time. But they don't have that. And that's for another day. Women's 4x4, I still have USA, Jamaica, and the Netherlands. All right, so I think that's that on the relay. You know what I didn't talk about because you have me going around real quickly. Let me just do this before I wrap up with you guys on the comments. We didn't talk about the 400 meter hurdles. So I'm going to start with men's 400 meter hurdles. Big event, jam-packed with super talent. Karsten Warholm leading the pack. He's unstoppable this year. I don't think you can beat him. I think he's back to prime form. He's already clocked a bunch of sub-47s already. I believe he's in world record shape. That's my opinion. We'll see if he can do it. Rai Benjamin, I think, will grab the silver. Because I think he's in good form. I just don't think even if Rai is at his best, I don't think he can beat the Viking. That guy has his head. I think mentally and physically, Warholm is in a better space. And then the question comes down to whether Alison dos Santos can be in any kind of shape. We saw him the other day. I don't know if he's ready. He's returning from injury, but he's so good that he could possibly feature. So I may still have dos Santos clinging on to a bronze medal. So it might be how it panned out in Tokyo a few years ago. So, but there's a lot of doubts around his fitness for me still. So I'll have to see how does he progress through the rounds. And then there's other athletes that can really get into the mix. We cannot forget CJ Allen, outstanding this season. I'm also happy to see that Karen McMaster is back. And if he's fit, he can do something. He's an incredible talent. And then, I have a little bit of a soft spot for that rising Jamaican kid, Rashawn Clark. Impressive 47.85. But his first World Championship, so there's no real pressure there. But the kid is also a tough kid, so we'll see what he can do. So that's my call there, and I'll get to the women's, and then we'll go through the rest. Oh, maybe I made a mistake. Oh, that's not me you're talking about. Okay. Let's see. I'll get back to your comments in a second, and thanks everybody for being with us. So let's go to women's 400 meters. Hurdles. No Sidney Mclaughlin in anywhere to be found at the World Championships. Fenke Bowl, Country Mile, League of Her Own right now. Gold medal is hers. She's running against the clock. I don't think she's in world record shape. I'd love to see it. But I think Femke could run 51 flat, given good conditions. Who knows? Maybe she can dip below, but that's me being farcical now. But maybe somewhere close to 51 flat. Then I think I still have to go in Mohammed. I think she will pick the silver up because there's something about her in terms of always being there, former world record holder as well. Tough to beat. Let's see. Shamar Little probably could clinch the bronze. I think that's where it's probably going to go. Who knows if Genevieve Russell could spring a surprise, but you have to start getting down in the 52s for me if you're going to do that. So we'll see, but it's going to be a really fantastic race. I think it's going to be Femke by herself, then Mohammed probably a little bit by herself with Little in the mix and the rest. So that's where I'm going to go. I think part of me just feels like Mohammed will bring something, but again, that could be my own nostalgia or something like that. All right, so I don't know if I've covered every single event tonight. Maybe I have, but let's get to some of these comments. Thanks everybody for joining me. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys sticking around. Where are we now? Where did I miss? What did I miss? 4x1 will be tough. A tough one for women. Yeah, I think so. It's going to be close call, but I think it's going to be exciting, and I think it's the better baton exchange will come out between the Jamaicans and the U.S. athletes, assuming that everybody comes healthy and in the proper mental space. That's important. And you have Netherlands instead of the Dominican Republic in mixed relay. Oh yeah, that's true. It's a good point you're making there. Especially with the Cofield thing, and I don't think they should run Paulino. Do not run Paulino. It's not going to be a good thing. Jamaican can pull it off. I think you're referencing the 4x1, right? I think so. And talk about it. I saw when you did this. You want me to talk about the events that happen at the United States training camp? I don't really know what to say. I mean, all I've heard is information from people who wasn't there. I haven't talked to anybody. And then there's all these social media thing. I think the sport is much better than that, and I don't necessarily want to engage in it. I think where I will engage in something like this is if when the World Championships comes around and the relay doesn't go as planned, and people start to open up on, about when they start to do the autopsies, then we can talk about it. All in the game. Does the US 4x4 Sidney? I don't know if they can win by a mile. I think this might be. I think if Jamaica was in better shape, the Netherlands, it could be closer. But I think they still have enough women to run a good leg. I mean, it's a good question there. They don't win by the same distance, I don't think, because those are X factors there. But I think they have enough to pull it off. Even that woman that they're bringing in to replace Sidney, unless she shuts it down, she should be in good nick. Yeah. But it could be a good race. I mean, it might be closer than we think. But I don't know. Yeah, I wonder what leg the Netherlands should run a Femke Bowl. We'll see. Yeah, I touched that at the top of the show. Kimon, she withdrew. She has a minor injury. Yeah, and I think all in the game wants silver for Shamir. I can't disagree with that too. I think I'm nostalgic for Mohammed. Yeah. Hi Ryan, good evening. Weekend's blessings to you as well. You missed a lot, but I know you're good for a good recap. So love to hear your thoughts on all the stuff that we talked about. I try to do some in-depth stuff this evening. I also run through a number of these events because, just not to keep your eyes here forever. What does Patrick say? Do you think the rest of the time can affect the top 400 meter, 4 women performance in the 100 meters? And if so, what could it affect more out of Shelly Jackson? Oh, the rest time. Oh. What you mean? What rest time are you talking about? The difference between the semifinals to the finals? Yeah, we have to work on that. Well, you guys trying to bring me in trouble, You're trying to get me in trouble, Brittany. I'm gonna stay out of that. I'm upset I missed you earlier, and I set the phone for notification. I don't know what happened to YouTube, but yeah, go back on it. I'm sure you'll get into it. Yeah, I don't know if it will impact. I think the 1 hour difference is always good if you're talking about that for the 90-minute differential is always good. I think the longer you take, the cool down is bigger, and the warm up have to come back again. So yeah, I think that's the issue there. Yeah. All right, guys. I mean, that's my preview for the World Championships. I am excited for it. It's after 11 here. I appreciate many of you for sticking around and for coming on. I like the engagement with you. I appreciate you on the channel. I will be back next week for sure. I'll hope to do a few watch-alongs probably if I can squeeze that in, especially on the weekend. But definitely we'll be doing some live shows, especially just before the World Championships. We'll see what happens. We'll see if there's any more withdrawals before the World Championships for health reasons, or if the AIU does anything else. Because the AIU, they're making sure that they get everybody as quickly as they can. Because they want a championships that is as clean as possible, and so on. So yeah, we'll have to see. But I thank everybody for joining me tonight. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to give this a like. You could share it with your friends and family too if you think it's worthy of that. Hit the notification bell, because that way you know when we'll be on the channel. I know Ryan hit the notification bell, but YouTube didn't tell him. We have to talk to the guys at YouTube for that. But I appreciate everybody, and I thank you so much for joining me. And this has been a good experience, and I look forward to see what happens. Yeah, I think you're right. All in the game, there are bound to be a bunch of surprises over the next few weeks, and even as soon as the championships start, athletes may get injured during the warm up, or fighting in the elevator. Hopefully not. But yeah, we'll see. But for now, I wish you a good rest of the Friday evening or Saturday, wherever you might be. And if you're joining me on the rebroadcast, I'll definitely respond to all your comments and questions. And I'll see you next week. And you have a great rest of your evening. And thank you so much. Bye-bye.